Hi YouTube friends! We're going to talk about an absolutely incredible camera with an unbelievably cool live streaming app. I've talked about this camera before, but the new features are going to blow your mind. That's the Tail 2 by OBSBOT. Let's check it out. It's amazing. So you know what? Let's get to it! There are so many new things with this OBSBOT, and the Tail 2 is so much better than it was at its initial launch when I did this video showing you how cool this camera was to begin with. But the OBSBOT Center has been upgraded heavily, all kinds of really cool new features have been added, and an entirely new software that's gonna help you live stream in ways that you couldn't possibly have imagined before, directly from your cell phone. Now there are links down below in the description where you can go check out the OBSBOT Tail 2 or any of the OBSBOT cameras for yourself. And they actually have all kinds of other things there as well. So there's going to be a link for you to check out on your own. But let's dive right in because you came to see what this thing can do and you're going to be amazed. All right, so I got OBS open so you can see me in here and you're going to get a legit comparison to what the Tail 2 actually looks like, at least on this monitor. So we have the software over here as well. And all I have to do is turn the Tail 2 on. Now I have it mounted right below my regular camera, so it is going to have a slightly lower view. It's not going to be identical, but it's also a much wider view, at least at first. Now the OBSBOT Center software is so much better than it was originally. We could bring up the window where we can see it, the preview basically, and boom, there we go. You can see much wider angle. And we can fix that, and I'm gonna fix that for you guys so you can really get a compare. But first, I wanna go through some of these new features and show you how everything works. Now right here, we have the virtual camera, so we can just start it right here, and we have our beauty. And I'm gonna go over this in a little bit once we get our camera set up, but it does exist. Right here, we can add the remote, which is super easy and will allow us to just control it from here instead of having to go in here and control how our camera looks, zooms, and moves. We got console where we can set up AI tracking, our tracking settings, our presets, and our view and gimbal. And these are so much more intuitive than they used to be. We can also take snapshots, start recording, and all that stuff right here. We could switch from landscape to vertical, which is just a click of a button. It's amazing. AI tracking, really super simple. So we've got single mode, you got normal or close up, and object tracking. Right now it's not actually tracking, but I can make it track me just by holding up my hand like this, and you'll see a box appears around me on the screen, and now it is tracking. I can make it stop tracking by just doing the same thing, right? And now it stops tracking. You can see when I start the tracking, all of these become active over here. So we go into single mode. We can change how fast it tracks us. We can change up our zone tracking and all that stuff. But either way, now it's tracking me. No matter where I move, it's gonna move with me, right? And we can change the speed and everything. This is so much easier than it used to be to change the speed of everything, because if we go down here into our tracking settings, we can make it super lazy to track me, or we can make it slow or fast, or however we want it to track, it will do it. We can also adjust the exact prop that it tracks at with the tracking lock. Very easy. That was not an easy thing to do previously. We've got our presets where we can set where the camera is focused on and just change that with the preset. So preset 1 can be over there, preset 2 can be over there. When we just click the preset button, it'll automatically shift the camera view to one of those locations. Almost make it look like you have multiple cameras even when you don't. This is how fast it switches from one camera to the next, which you used to not be able to control. So now we've got the view gimbal where I can move the gimbal right here, slow or fast. We can set our zoom and our manual zoom speed, all that kind of stuff, and we can set our focus mode. So let's mess around with this and see how close we can get it to our main camera, right? What I'm gonna do is go ahead and zoom it in, and it'll zoom on me, right? And probably a little far in. So somewhere like that. And we could adjust the crop if we wanted to, but it's perfect. There we go. There we go. So that's about the same zoom. You can see in OBS, it has that blur effect, and in the main one, it doesn't have that. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and turn off the track so it's not constantly moving. And then let's see if we can adjust it so it looks the way we want it to. So we've got it all zoomed in, right? We'll go down here and we're gonna select the manual focus. And so what that enables us to do is change our focus a little bit. And this is basically how you get that blur effect on the other camera. So we can adjust the lens, right? And now you can see we get a little bit of a blur effect, but it's probably not what most people are looking for because of where we are and the lens, it's just not giving us that exact look. So we're gonna go back to here and we can fake it. Fake it till you make it, right? We're gonna go up here to Beauty Effects, and then we're just gonna select Blur, and we can just turn it on. So now we can adjust the blur in our background to essentially match what we're getting in the other one. Now they have two different sets of blur effects. One is a more advanced. And the reason why you know this is different is if I turn my face to the side, turn the blur level up so we can kind of see how this works. So you can see it just doesn't get like my nose and everything right, but if we go over here, you're gonna get all of the definition and everything else. So the advanced actually does matter, and we can make it look pretty similar. We could basically fake it. Now, is the coloring the same? No, not exactly, but we could get it exactly if we want. Let's go ahead and turn off blur, and I'll show you the other features here. We've got Retouch, where it's basically like Instagram filters. We can go in here and change our tone, smooth, clarity. You can make a custom one, all that sort of stuff. And then they also have filters, pretty much just like Instagram, where you could change up the coloring of your stuff. So we might actually be able to match the tone of our DSLR camera just using this, you know, and you can adjust the level. So we can adjust it up or down to whatever we want. It's pretty cool stuff. But if we turn that off, we're gonna go in here. And so that's all of the zoom stuff. But when we go into image, here's where they added a bunch of night stuff, like night view mode, and I'm going to demo that in a second. But we could change the focus so that it'll autofocus on faces or global or whatever. So we could change it so it will autofocus on my face. We can change the exposure, which is awesome. So that means we can make the back image darker or lighter or all that sort of stuff. That's the kind of thing that you could do with exposure. Right now it's on auto exposure. Now it does a really good job, so I don't think there's any reason to do that. Right here, auto flicker, big time cool feature. Let's say the lights in my background were flickering. I could change this right here to keep those from flickering. And you see it all the time when people film a television or film a monitor. You get that flickering, or even some lights. And you can basically do away with that by just changing the anti-flicker to something else. White balance, another brand new thing. You can adjust the white balance for your images. So we can go with auto, daylight, fluorescent, tungsten, and actually that looks pretty doggone amazing. If you don't like that, that's perfectly fine too. You could come in here and you can adjust your colors. They have a whole bunch that are, you know, standard, outdoor, pastel, and then custom, where you can come in here and adjust the brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness, and hue on your own, so that we could literally make sure that this image here looks identical to the one we're getting on my DSLR. The white balance is totally new. That's something they added here, which I think is really awesome, but also this night view mode. So I have blackout curtains in this room. Blackout curtain there, blackout curtain there. There is almost no light in this room. When I turn this off, it's pitch black. I can't see anything. Now I do have those lights on in the back, and I'm gonna turn those off just because I want you guys to see what it's like. Then I'll only have my monitor lights on. Now watch this. This is crazy. All right, so I'm gonna turn the lights off. That's what we get initially. You could see my DSLR up here is also not seeing anything. We turn night mode on. It takes a couple seconds, but when this thing starts working, look at this. That's unbelievable. I mean, and we can adjust my coloring. As you can see here, it will follow us even in the pitch black. And you can see it's pitch black by looking up there. This is mind-blowing. It's unbelievable. Night mode off, night mode on. I mean, wow. Night view mode works awesome, which means that the lighting in your scene almost doesn't really matter. So the last piece is the more piece, right? And here we can power off the device. We can adjust our output modes. We can adjust gesture control. So if we get tired, if we're putting our hand up and it's constantly deciding that it wants to follow us again, we can turn that off. You can also see there's gestures for recording and zooming. So we can zoom in and out with that, and we can adjust our zoom factor. The last thing I should show you pertaining to the control center is how to actually get it into OBS. So all we have to do is go up to our control center, click on here, which is the virtual camera, and click OK. So we can't actually do this with this preview open. What we're gonna do is go ahead and close our preview out. We're gonna turn off our virtual camera, turn it back on. I'm gonna click the plus. I'm gonna go to video capture device. And we're going to call this OBSBOT, and we're going to go ahead and just grab our camera. Boom, there we go. Click OK, and there we go. So now we've got our OBSBOT camera on here, and you can see the difference. There's a little bit of a difference in framing, but otherwise, that is my main camera, and that's my OBSBOT camera. They look pretty good. So we can get it to follow us, get it framed up properly, turn that off, and there we go. Now we're framed properly. Looks pretty good. It's that easy to get this into OBS. But the coolest new feature is what I want to show you next, and that is the live streaming app that can put all this together in some really cool ways and allow you to live stream directly from your cell phone, which theoretically will help you get around that 50 subscriber mark as well. So let's go ahead and dive into that. All right, I'm just going to go into the OBSBOT app, and this particular app is called OBSBOT Live. It's totally new. I'll leave a link in the description so you could check it out. Now you have the option for platform streaming or screen streaming. I'm going to take platform streaming, and we're going to go with landscape. You can see that it does see the tail too, because it's on the same network, but it also allows me to use the front camera of my phone or the back camera or whatever I want. So we're going to leave it with the front camera, and we're going to start using. Now it just wants to know which network we're on, so we could select it. All right, so now we have it connected, and what we can do is we could change, we've got the tail camera and we've got the front camera, right? Pretty cool. So it shows us our different cameras that we have set up, or our different canvases. So we could change our transition right here from rotate, directional. There we go. That's pretty cool. And we can mix our audio. So at the moment, we have just audio from our mobile studio or our mobile phone. We could have audio plugged into the tail air, and we would be able to mix that all right here. And we could have a monitor. So if we wanted to put headphones in, we had them Bluetooth connected to our phone, we could monitor all of the audio as well. Each camera has its own kind of different setup, so we can go into the canvases and you can see the different setups. And what I've done here is basically just selected here and then selected a background, as you can see. So you're not going to see that background on any of these other setups, but you're going to see it on this one. And so I can change that background like that, but I have a different background set up on each of the different canvases. So I could select a different canvas to come up with a different background. So now I'm going to hit next step, and boom, we're all set. We can change from the different views. So that right there is the view from my camera, and I can adjust that obviously up a little bit. There we go. And we've got this one, which will give us both views. Now the best part is we can move this around, do whatever we want, but we can also select this little gear up here, and we can change all of the settings on our Tail 2 camera. So we can go in here and we can record videos or add videos or photos or anything like that if we wanted to. We can go in and we can add beauty effects. Just like with the other one, we can add beauty, makeup, body, and filters. So we can change the look of the camera to mimic more of the same style as our phone camera or whatever we want. All of that is there. We can go into our mixer and adjust our audio volumes right there. We could go in here and add stickers or layers by clicking the plus. So you can add text, images, GIFs, whatever you want, and add them over top. Pretty cool stuff. If you go in here, we can also adjust our zoom and our track and all that other stuff. So if we wanted to change it up, we could. You can also adjust your presets. So P1, P2, P3. You can set your Tail 2 to wherever you want it to go, right? So now we've got these two different cameras. We can do anything we want. So theoretically, we could walk around and select a view like this, and we could walk around, and this view is going to show wherever I'm holding the camera, right? And I can get this view to track me. So now it will track me anywhere I go in the room. So I can just carry my camera around and this will track me, right? So you could see how this would be awesome if you're in a field somewhere or whatever, where you just want an overall view of the live stream from that camera and a view from this camera with me talking to it and this receiving my microphone. There are so many incredible ways that you could set this up to do absolutely unbelievable stuff. And of course, your tail 2 doesn't even have to be focused on you. Your tail 2 could be focused on some kind of action that you're filming, while this could be focused on you, or it could be focused that way. So you could be filming 2 different things at once, and you could set these up in all kinds of different ways. So let's go in here, and I want to go back into our settings, right? Because I want to show you something else. We want more options. So we could change it to that or this, and then go back into here, and then we can turn this one on, and we can go into here and go to canvas, change it to that, right? And then we can go back, and now we have some different options. So now we've got this one, right? And then we've got this one, and then we have this one. So you can see how versatile this can be. You could change it up to do all kinds of different things. Now it does exactly the same thing in vertical as it does in horizontal. Let me quickly show you. So we're going to go back out here, and we're going to go back to the previous step, and we're going to do platform streaming, and we're going to go portrait, right? And then we're going to start using, and I'm just going to move this, that, and you can see the different setups that it gives you right here. And then we're going to go ahead and click next step, and there we go. You can see all the different setups we have. So we have just me on there. We have just me on the phone. We've got the split, right? And we've got the split this way. And then we've got the split this way. And that's amazing. I mean, that's so many different options for just about anything that you could possibly want to do. We're going to go down here, and if we just click the record button, you can see we get in here to our live stream settings. And so all we have to do is we could set up a custom RTMP. If we go to YouTube, it just gives us our Google sign in. We just sign in like we normally would. And it does the same thing for Twitch or for Facebook. So you just sign in and you click the go live button, and you're live on your phone, connected to the Tail 2, doing crazy stuff, whatever you want. This app is just awesome. It works so well. It's totally seamless. And holy mackerel, I can see how this would completely change live streaming. Oh, and by the way, you can connect multiple cameras. So you could have your Tail 2, you could have 2 Tail Airs, or 2 Tail 2s and a Tail Air, or 3 Tail 2s, or whatever. It's absolutely incredible what you can do with this, and it just works. It's so easy. Now, I told you this thing was incredible, but not just that. The amount of support and the amount of work that OBSBOT has done on the software is unbelievable. It's so much easier to use. It's so simple to set up. And that live streaming app, man, that changes everything. I can imagine 20 different cool things I can do with live streaming anywhere with that thing and my cell phone. It is so cool. So once again, link in the description. Definitely check it out. And you know what? I want to know what you think of the Tail 2. So let me know about it down in the comment. And if you want to see my initial impressions on this thing and see how this amazing lens works, you should check this video out. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.